Okay. We're getting real close here. So. If the clerk will call the roll to determine if there's a quorum. Madam Clerk?
Counselor Johnson?
Present.
Counselor Halverson?
Here.
Counselor Corn?
Here.
Counselor Chapel?
Here.
Counselor Oropesa?
Here.
Counselor Heldenbrand?
Present.
Counselor Cavan?
Here.
Counselor Moore is absent. Counselor Arnold?
Present.
Counselor Marujo?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay, by 9 present, 1 absent. We do have a quorum. Okay, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance by Counselor Chapel. It's really hard ought to make you do the prayer, being up with a name like Chapel, but Counselor Marujo to give us the pledge, please, or the invocation, please. Please rise.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father God, we come before you and give you all glory and honor for this day, Father God. Ask you to bless the mayor, all the council, city officials, Father God, our first responders, our police officers statewide, our firemen. We give you all glory and honor for allowing us to be here. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Okay, we have a couple short things to happen tonight. It pains my heart to you just can't understand. It hurts me to do this. I have to ask everyone to be quiet, or not to. You can talk. I mean, talk. Say what you have to say, but please don't take a lot of time. There are a number of members who happen to be in a non. Well, I know we're in a non-political situation, but they happen to have probably might need to embark on another political event tonight. There's a number of people I've been told that they need to go to a meeting that happens later on tonight. So don't worry, it doesn't have anything to do with donkeys or anything. But there's a state something or another going on somewhere on TV. So I don't know if anybody has to go. We can try to get it done so they can go. I don't know if there's anybody need to go to some kind of convention. Nope. Okay, well then never mind. You can talk as much as you want. I did try. If you all tell them, I did try to get. I didn't want to be accused of delaying anything that happens in other political events. Okay. So next we have, for the approval of the agenda, Councilman Hildebrand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that we approve the agenda for the tonight's meeting, August the 8th, 2024.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilor Hildebrand, second by Councilor Cavan. So, is there any discussion? Seeing none, let's see, clerk, you want? Is there any opposition? You want to call the roll?
Yes, please.
Okay, Madam Clerk, call the roll. It'll be
Counselor Johnson?
Yes.
Counselor Halverson?
Yes.
Counselor Corn?
Yes.
Counselor Chapel?
Yes.
Counselor Oropesa? Counselor Heldenbrand?
Aye.
Counselor Cavan?
Yes.
Counselor Arnold?
Yes.
And Counselor Marujo?
Yes.
by a vote of 9 in the affirmative and none in the negative. The agenda has been approved. Next we have is approval of the consent agenda. Councilman Hildebrand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that we approve the consent agenda for tonight's meeting, August the 8th, 2024.
We have a motion by Councilman Hildenbrand, a second
Second.
by Councilor Lady Halverson. Okay. And is there any discussion? Seeing none, if the clerk would call the roll.
Mr. Mayor,
Counselor,
Excuse me.
just the standard question, if anybody signed up for items on consent agenda before we approve it.
No, I don't have a list of anybody signed up. Well. You dropped it down the big hole.
It went down the dark hole.
Okay, on the agenda we have to talk is James Montalto? Is that, he wants to like to speak on the Silver Tower graffiti on East Second and Main.
Let's get the vote taken care of.
All right, so, we'll have, pardon? Oh, we'll get the consent agenda done, and then you'll be able to speak. Okay.
Not yet?
In just a minute. If the clerk would call the roll.
Counselor Johnson,
Yes.
Counselor Halverson,
Yes.
Counselor Corn,
Yes.
Counselor Chapel,
Yes.
Counselor Oropesa,
Yes.
Counselor Hildenbrand,
Aye.
Counselor Cavan. Yes. Counselor Arnold,
Yes.
Counselor Marujo.
Yes.
Okay, by a vote of 9 in the affirmative and none in the negative, the consent agenda has been approved. So, on okay, if we could, we have, okay, we'll be with you in just a second if we could. Next, we have item 21, Senior Citizens Day Proclamation, if the clerk would read.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Councilors. Do we have anybody here for the proclamation for National Senior Citizens Day?
Oh.
So, I just have a proclamation here from,
You have to speak straight in the microphone, please. And thank you.
So the proclamation reads, whereas in 1988, President Ronald Reagan proclaimed August 21st as National Citizenship Day, the day is to show appreciation for the value and contribution of elderly people to the family and society as a whole. And whereas the day is also intended to increase awareness of the factors and increase that affect older adults, such as health deterioration and elder abuse. And whereas National Senior Citizens Day recognizes the achievements of more mature representatives of our nation. The day provides an opportunity to show our appreciation for their dedication, accomplishments, and services they give throughout their lives. And whereas August is designated National Senior Citizens Day, the celebration took place for the first time in 1991. And now, therefore, Timothy Z. Jennings, Mayor of the City of Roswell, New Mexico, does hereby proclaim the 21st of August of 2024 as National Senior Citizens Day.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Excuse me, please identify yourself for the record so the clerk, our deputy chief clerk, can get your name in the record.
Sure. Dorothy Helms, and I am the current chair of this commission. I'm proud to serve on it. I think it's interesting that we only meet every other month, but we do have people that come and express some concerns about different areas in our city and with the senior citizens. I have speakers at every meeting to inform us of different things. So I appreciate the council and their support in doing this, and just recognizing that senior citizens do give a lot to the city. As most of y'all well know, it kind of gave the city a boost back when the base left, and they really went after the senior citizens to move here, and they've continued to come and enjoy the lifestyle that we have here. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Ma'am, would you care to say anything? Or?
I just want to say thank you. I'm a new committee member. We spoke recently on the phone, Lorraine Wilby. I'm new to Roswell, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it here.
Thank you. Can you have your name, just an address?
Lorraine Wilby, and my address is 906 North Kansas Avenue.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. I don't want anybody to challenge whether or not somebody that was just presented before us lives in the county or the city. Please, let's not do that. Okay, next we have item 22, the airport consulting report. Miss Bobby Thompson and Michael Hodges. So.
Thank you for having a podium my size. Well, as you may have noticed, Michael Hodgett is not here with me. He sends his apologies. He lives in North Carolina, and you may have seen that Miss Debbie kind of hit North Carolina pretty hard. So he was fighting travel plans and everything.
If you were a 5-year-old, I'd explain to you that we're going around in the desert over 500 miles an hour in a pack of other jets. There's nowhere else on this planet where we get to race against other individuals. I personally am horrible at racing on a clock. I like racing other human beings because there's a psychological, aggressive style to the Reno National Air Races. To each their own, but that's how I fly it.
First of all, you got to talk to a 5-year-old like they're a knowledgeable human and not this 5-year-old. That's important, because they are. So, second of all, we take 8 planes, we put them close together, we fly in a near circle at about 100 feet off the ground at 500 miles an hour, and the guy in front wins.
Sport class is different than the T6 or some of the other bigger classes because we all have different airplanes, and different airplanes means we're all experimental. And the only rule in sport class is it has to be a piston engine under 1,000 cubic inches. Beyond that, it's innovation. So we are the class of innovation, and we have guys running turbochargers and superchargers and nitrous oxide and any way to add power. And it's pretty much at your own risk how far you want to go.
Biplane class, we are primarily racing the Pitts biplane. It's a small single-seat aerobatic biplane. Speeds anywhere from the 180 to the 220, 230 mile an hour range this year. Most of the planes are Moderately modified. They're not custom ground built. A couple of them are bordering on that. It's really good close racing, and it's a lot of fun.
The unique part about the biplane class is we have 2 sets of wings. That's the biggest, difference between most of the classes. They look a lot cooler and they're a lot more fun than the rest of the class or the other classes. Actually, it's more fun. When you were a kid, if you ever got a toy airplane, it was usually a biplane. So, being able to actually get one and being, flying it just brings you back to your childhood.
Formula One air racing is like, it's like stock car racing on a big oval track, but with airplanes.
So think about it as if you had a scooter and your friend Jenny down the block also had a scooter and you're trying to race her as fast as you can.
We each have our little airplane and we give them all a crazy name. Mine's called the Atomic Pumpkin. We have a Monkey Ninja over there.
But you can go faster than her and you can only go left. So if you're trying to run around trash cans trying to beat Jenny.
Yeah, we race around a track, around big pylons to show us where our track is.
Now you're trying to kick fast and she slows down and you speed up, but you can't pass her on the inside because there's not enough room between Jenny and the trash can. So you pass Jenny on the outside.
Just like stock cars, all at the same time, 8 of us. We go around for 8 laps and whoever crosses the finish line first wins.
And you get cake.
Well, if I was to explain it as simply as possible, I would say
Stole drag, capital S-T-O-L, drag.
Stole drag racing is almost identical to race. Okay, let's do it.
Stole drag is like a drag race with airplanes instead of cars.
If I was explaining stole drag racing to a 5-year-old, I would say it's almost identical to car drag racing.
So it flies real slow, lands real slow, real short, but it goes pretty fast.
Where you start head-to-head with your competitor with 2 lanes running straight down the course.
You get to do a turnaround, which actually is a big part of stole drag racing.
It's a bit different though because you go as fast as you can, but you have to slow down and stop on the other side of the line and land as short as you can, turn around, and fly the other direction.
So we take off real slow, go as fast as we can, slow back down again, land, turn around, and do it again. We are the planes with the cartoon tires, and we're lining up like NASCAR. You know, the little guys that run around the track that you see on TV? Well, that's us, except we're going straight and level, down and back to a complete stop, coming back as fast as we can with these big cartoon tires. We're drag racing, NASCAR style. There's nothing like it. We're here at the Reno Air Races.
Well, it's the best racing class, of course. Only the best pilots can fly in the T6s.
This is one of the funnest classes there is. We help everybody out. If somebody needs something, hey, come over to the pit. If I don't have it, maybe the next pit does. And then we get breakfast and lunch and dinner, who's ever cooking, and the party every night. It's just great, so.
It takes a lot of money. Start is very important. They get us all lined up, headed down to the first pylon, and then they release us and say, gentlemen, you have a race. So it's real exciting at that point.
With the T6s, you know, we're all big family. It's kind of let's just show up just to meet everybody and bring an airplane and go have some fun.
Here's your second and third competitors.
Okay. Pull one over on us. You pass it back to our leader now.
I fly in the unlimited class, and the unlimiteds, just like the name says, don't really have any limits.
We can have as much horsepower as we want. There's a minimum horsepower. NASCAR on steroids. You can cut the wings. You can put a 1-bladed prop on it if you want. You can put a 5-bladed prop.
This is bad for you. It's very expensive, and nobody will like you for it.
You can put a Merlin, you can put an Allison, you can put a Griffin.
It's kind of like what's the biggest, baddest thing you can think of.
So it's really just exactly what it states. It's unlimited.
This is something you should never get into.
They tend to be the top speed airplanes in the races.
The butterflies, before you even get in the airplane and everything, are going crazy. Once you get in the airplane and get the engine running, it's down to business.
We wouldn't do it if we weren't having fun and had a little bit of adrenaline flowing.
Once you get in the airplane, you don't know if you're tired, hungry, hot, cold, sleepy, none of that. It all kind of goes out the window. So
I think I'd probably fly the jets because I think they have air conditioning.
Well, thank you for indulging me on that, Mr. Mayor and Council. We appreciate that. Now, also as part of that event, bringing that event here, as you may imagine, I know several of you up there were able to come to the races in '23, and you saw that it's a very complex and large event. So because of that process, the city did hire the company that I work for, ABS Aviation, to come and, you know, when you invite company, you got to clean house. So we're trying to work on a lot of things with the airport staff. We're meeting with a lot of tenants on behalf of the city to try to do what we can to help with the business management side of the airport to get everything ready. I have already met with a number of your tenants, had some great conversations, been working with staff. We're going through all the leases, whatever stand they're in, whether they're new, ready for revision, been around a long time, talking to the tenants to see what's working for them, what's not working for them, talking about maintenance items that needs to be done, because we believe right now your airport is in a major evolutionary period, as is your city. There's a lot of things that will be going on at the airport, a lot of changes are going to happen. We think those changes are positive, but we want to make sure that everyone's ready for them, that can accept them, and it all goes surprisingly well. So we'll be doing that as well as looking at the revenue side. That's always important. We'll be looking at the cost recovery, the grants, and all those items to make sure that your airport is currently and becomes the jewel that it really is. You're very fortunate to have such a fine airport in your city, and I think all of you are aware of the important role it plays in your community. So thank you so much for allowing me to speak this evening, and if you have questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Bobby. Is there anyone has any questions of Bobby or about the Reno Air Races, about where we are? Bobby is also here helping us go over our air center here, and we have her on a contract to help us about ways to improve our air center, and then while she's here, she's helping us also get ready for the Reno Air Races. And if there's anything about that you'd like to say, Bobby, that's fine. But she's been on the board a number of years. She's flown a plane for a long time, all the way across the country and everywhere else I think she's flown. So she has a wealth of knowledge about about airports, and we appreciate you being here. And on behalf of the Reno Air Races as well, thank you.
Well, we think there's a great team of folks here, and we bring in a pretty good team, and it's a partnership that I think will take us well into the future with lots of great success. And one thing I'd like to share with you, before we're actually here racing, a few years ago, Microsoft put together a Reno Air Race segment, had over 1 billion hits. The gamers were really loving it. Well, guess what? The end of November, there's going to be a Roswell version. So you guys are going to start being everywhere, and people are going to want to know, come to Roswell and leave their money behind, we hope. So if there aren't any questions, that was all I had.
Yes, I would just like to point out to members of the council, there will be a nice picture of the mayor on the Reno Air Races, and any of the councilors who, you know, be good between now and November, and I'll get you on that thing too. So we'll get you in there. So just anything you can, if you might need it, I'll be glad to get you on that picture.
Thank you all so very much.
All right, thank you. Okay. So next we're on just before we get to item 23, we have public hearings. If someone would like to address the council, so they don't have to stay here all night, the only person we have is James Montalvo, and he's here. But she's on for item 24. Does she want to speak at item 24? Okay, so James, if you'd like to come up and identify yourself and so.
Good evening. My name is James Montalto, and I am just following up from the last meeting. I had brought up the issue with the graffiti over on the Silver Dome on East 2nd and Railroad. And then I attended the public safety meeting on the 16th, and I was informed that contact was made with the owner and that he had given approval to have the graffiti removed or painted over, and that Mr. Jennings was going to pay for it personally. I don't know if that's still the case. I tried to reach out to Mr. Carter. I couldn't get in touch with him. I called 17 different numbers, so I don't have his information. Really, I just want an update and to see if there's any way that I can assist moving forward. Thank you.
Councilor Halverson's been working on that, so we'll see where we get.
So we're working with Mr. Nesselrod about a contract, the hold harmless. So I did email him earlier this week. He said he's working on it with an attorney to make sure not only that it covers this graffiti, but if it happens again, he has the ability to go up there and do it again. So once he gets that, we get the contract done, then Mr. Jennings did offer to pay for the paint and everything, and Mr. Nesselrod will take care of painting it over. I do want to point out, too, there's been several other places that have these graffiti with the Palestinian flags, and I'm getting really sick and tired of whoever's doing it. Because it's graffiti, it's illegal, and it's really hard for the police department to catch them because it's, you don't know when they're doing it in the middle of the night. But there is even a place out, I've got an email yesterday I sent to Chad and them out at the Cielo Grande. Somebody's painting Palestinian flags out there too. So I'm just hoping whoever gets caught, they're prosecuted the full extent of the law because I'm sick and tired of seeing them. Thank you very much for caring.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so we've been working on it. They just have to get through the legal P's and Q's. We used to do a lot more graffiti removal, but there are some questions that people have about whether or not we can use public monies for private properties. So that's where that question comes up. So we agreed to work that out, so everything should be in good order, I hope.
If there are any discussions or plans or ideas for a graffiti task force or something with members of the community, I'd be happy to volunteer to assist.
Okay.
So,
Thank you. We'll keep you in mind. Thank you very much. Okay. Is there anyone else who'd care to speak before the council tonight? If you would, please come up. Just identify yourself, and then. Are you going to speak on item 24? Yeah, just wait till 24, and then we'll get you on that. Just for any other issue, if anyone cares to speak. Seeing none, okay. We'll go to item 23. Councilman Hildebrand to hold a public hearing on case 24-014, the final plat to subdivide 1.61 acres. Yes, ma'am, Meredith. No. Yeah. Okay, if we'll have Councilman Hildebrand, if you'll make a motion to
swear him in.
To convene the public hearing, but you have to swear the people in.
Correct.
So, if you'll make the motion, Councilman Hildebrand, to open a public hearing on case 24-014.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that we hold a public hearing on case 24-014 and vote on the final plat to subdivide 1.61 acres into 7 lots in the R3 residential zoning district.
We have a motion. We have a second. Okay. Okay, Meredith, if you'd please explain.
Thank you, Mayor Jennings. Council.
If we could have the gentleman please stand and we'll swear you in.
Everybody has to be sworn in. If you'd Just come forward. So
You can just stay there.
Oh,
You
okay.
can stand there. Just raise your right hand and then just, do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Okay, Meredith.
Thank you, Mayor Jennings. Council, this is zoning case 24-014F plat. It's a final plat at 601 East Marker Road. And we're requesting a public hearing, which we're holding right now, to approve a minor subdivision final plat in the R3 zoning district to create 7 lots for residential development on 1.61 acres. This is an excerpt of the final plat that Rain Surveying rendered, showing 7 lots. It's the Morales subdivision. And you can see the lot sizes there, ranging from 8,229 square feet to 17,620 square feet. Along with the actual plat is a set of civil plans that Smith Engineering has prepared, including sanitary sewer. So the 7 lots, or 6 of the lots, needed sanitary sewer, so the sewer line had to be extended to serve all those lots. There is a water line on the south side of Marker already. And you can see the water meter development on, or at least the plans for bringing water across the road to the lots. Scott Hicks is here with Smith Engineering should you have any questions. These are photos of the property. From the property, the first photo shows the property and looking west toward Southeast Main Street and the gas station there. The second middle slide or middle photo is from Garden Avenue looking east toward the existing house, and a 1901 Southeast Main Street property on south side of East Marker Road. And that property once upon a time was a drive-in theater. And then the last photo there is looking east from East Marker Road at the property under consideration for the replat. Here's an aerial view showing the property under consideration with a star on it. And you can see the interesting pattern on the property to the south that was the movie theater at one time. On July 23rd, 2024, Planning and Zoning Commission voted to rezone the lot from C2 and R1 to R3. It is in conformance with the infill redevelopment opportunities of the Comprehensive Land Use Plan preferred land use scenario map. And as of today, we've only had 1 inquiry and 1 letter, which is Exhibit H, serving notice and requesting future residential owners of property under consideration not object to intended future commercial use of the property at 1901 Southeast Main Street. That's where the movie theater was, drive-in. Again, the Planning and Zoning Commission on July 23rd, 2024, zoning case 24-013 ZOC, zone change, rezoned the property to R3. And also on that same day, the City of Roswell Planning and Zoning Commission voted 6-0 to recommend approval of zoning case 24-014F plat to City Council. And I stand for questions.
Okay, I noticed that this probably passed the zoning 6-0. And 6 in favor.
Yes.
That's what it passes on.
Correct.
If anybody didn't see that, but okay, are there any questions of members of the council? Councilman Hildebrand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I saw it's not a protest letter, but it is a letter of inquiry, I believe you called it. But in there, it says the future owners of the 7 lots cannot object to any commercial use of my property that would be in compliance with city regulations for commercial property. We can't bind, that's not binding, is it? I mean, so they're not objecting, and these people that live across have not given up their rights to object. Correct? Okay. No further questions.
Okay. Any further questions?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I just have a quick question. What is the average price of home per lot? I didn't see that. I may have missed it.
Councilor Arnold, Mr. Mayor, councilors, that was not included in this information in the R3 zoning district. If the lots are big enough, they can have multiple, they can have duplexes or triplexes or 3 unattached, detached, attached.
No, that's all music to my ears. Thank you.
Right. Whatever is allowed in R3 would be allowed on these lots.
Okay.
The owner is here. The property owner, Mr. Morales, is here.
Okay. If Mr. Morales wanted to say anything, I mean, I don't know, we've already, if he wants to, I mean, that's fine.
Can I ask a question? So I just had a question too. I'm looking at your plans here. There is a sidewalk you're putting in too, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. We have Scott Hicks here with all the engineering plans, so he has everything engineered for the sewer and water and all the sidewalks and everything.
Are there any further questions? Okay, Count, did you want to ask a question?
I wanted to ask him the same question that I asked Ms. Hildreth, sorry. Can you tell me the average price that you're kind of aim for per home? And
the options are still there, so we don't have.
You haven't planned anything
No,
yet?
ma'am.
Okay,
I'm
thank
just
you.
worried about the lots and trying to get the subdivision right now.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay, seeing no further questions. So we have a motion by, did you move to approve it? Yeah. Yeah, so we have a motion by Councilman Hildebrand, seconded by Councilman Korn, to approve case, the public hearing on case 24-014, the final plat, on 1.61 acres into 7 lots. I believe it was known as the Morales subdivision. So we have a motion before us. If the clerk would call the roll.
Counselor Johnson?
Yes.
Counselor Halverson?
Yes.
Counselor Korn?
Yes.
Counselor Chapel?
Yes.
Counselor Oropesa?
Yes.
Counselor Hildenbrand?
Aye.
Counselor Cavan?
Yes.
Counselor Arnold?
Yes.
Counselor Marujo?
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0.
Congratulations, your item 24, case 24-01C for residential rezoning on the Morales subdivision is duly passed the council. So next we'll go, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have item 24, ordinance 24-09, amending the Chapter 14 Affordable Housing Code. The City of Roswell hold a public hearing to adopt ordinance 24-09, amending Chapter 14 of the City Code related to the affordable housing. Councilman Hildebrand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that we hold a public hearing on ordinance 24-09, amending Chapter 14 of the Affordable Housing of the Roswell City Code.
Second.
A second by Councilman Chapel.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I just was here to speak on this item. Mr. Mayor, this update is just amending new language from the New Mexico Mortgage Finance Authority updating the definition for persons of low to moderate income. So the proposed amendment reflects that change.
So this amendment, this merely just makes us track with state law?
Yes, sir.
Okay, is there any questions from, let's see, Geneva, would you, Mr. Martinez, would you care to speak in this, to this item? You'll have to be sworn in again, but, so, okay. Does she need to be sworn in again? No, okay. Okay, yes, ma'am.
Hi. I would like to just say thank you for the Affordable Housing Task Force that the city's put together, to everybody that's been involved. We know that we're a decade behind in our Affordable Housing Act. The 2016 act that we're running off of now was just adopted from the 2012. So by able to cut this red tape allows nonprofits and other people to come in and apply for these type of grants. We just got a $500,000 through Mortgage Finance MFA for the rehab to rental program that I started with Many Hands. That was a $40,000 concept of trying to rehab homes, work with property owners, get the houses up, and then people that need affordable housing can rent them. We had a 45-day turnaround where we rehabbed the houses and got 4 families into housing. That was only a concept. It was only an idea. MFA was excited about it, and they put that $500,000 into the program. Also, I would like to talk about another program is going to be receiving close to another $500,000 through a HUD program to assist with housing 18 to 24-year-olds for transitional housing and to help find housing. And I know a lot of people, when they see me, they think of just, I work with the homeless population, but I know that the housing continuum has to work as a whole for our community to economically grow. We have to have housing from the shelter to transitional housing, to affordability, to our workforce housing, and then so on and so on. It's the way we can attract people to our community. We have a housing shortage, and until we fix the housing shortage, we're going to see a lack of new people moving here. The point in time survey was just released this last week. Our homeless numbers look pretty close. We actually have more identified homeless than Santa Fe here in Travis County. We had 214. Santa Fe had 195. Donna Ana, Las Cruces had 310. Why aren't we seeing that money that Santa Fe and Las Cruces are getting? It's this red tape that you guys are addressing that's going to allow us to start pushing for those funds through the state. Again, when I say continuum of housing, I also, when the time comes, the R1 zoning is languaged for 5 houses per acre. When this comes up in the future, if 7 houses were allowed, we'd be able to do more infill and have more of a chance for those that are mid-income levels to afford housing, obtainable housing. Affordable housing is a state definition. Obtainable housing is higher than what affordable is. So I just want to say thank you again. Any questions?
Question, Ms. Martinez. Thank you. It'd be nice if we can get some of that money, so it's some.
Yes, sir. I'm fighting for it.
Cutting the strings there. Okay, thank you. Any further comments? If anyone care to speak on item 24? Okay, on a motion by Councilman Hildebrand, seconded by Councilor Chavez, Chapel, excuse me, to hold a public hearing on to pass ordinance 24-09, amending chapter 14 of the Roswell City Code to related to the Affordable Housing Act definitions. Now, it takes a majority of 6 of all members of the governing board to pass this, just so if the clerk would call the roll.
Counselor Johnson?
Yes.
Counselor Halverson?
Yes.
Counselor Corn?
Yes.
Counselor Chapel?
Yes.
Counselor Oropesa?
Yes.
Counselor Hildenbrand?
Aye.
Counselor Cavan? Counselor Arnold?
Yes.
Counselor Marujo?
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. Next we have items 25 through 30. And those are merely a change in the ownership of liquor licenses for the 7-Eleven around Roswell. I am not aware of anyone that has signed up to protest that or to speak against those changes. So if the council, the way I understand it, if the council has no activity on this, it merely goes through. Is that correct, Mr. Eitema?
Mr. Mayor, yes. So if this is a negative finding that the council has to make based on the record. So if there's nobody here to provide a negative record, there's no way you can make a negative finding.
So is there anyone here to speak on items 25 through 30?
Mr. Mayor, we do have James with 7-Eleven online, if y'all have questions for him.
Does he want to speak against it?
I definitely do not want to speak against it. No, sir.
Okay. Well, I mean, you might say something might fix it real good, but
no, sir.
So, saying that there's no person raising their hand or trying to speak against this, I would move on to the next order of business. Is that the correct?
That would be. You should have a vote. A voice vote would be fine.
You want a voice vote? Well, we have it all. Yes, we would vote on items 25 through 30. We might have to restate your motion to vote on, Councilman Hildebrand, to vote on items 25 through 30.
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Mayor. So the motion to table would take care of it.
Okay, well, a motion to table items 25 through 30. If you,
Mr. Mayor,
yes.
I move that we table items 25 through 30 on today's agenda.
Second.
Okay, a second by Council Chaplin. Was that you or Cavan? Council Cavan. Well, that'll get things goofed up now. All right, so we have a motion to table. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, if the clerk could call the roll.
She said we could do voice vote.
Well, maybe she's not. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, by a vote of 9 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The items 25 through 30 have been tabled. Next, we have new business approval of the Main Street request, item 31. Okay, item 31, let's see. Okay, Councilman Corn.
I'll be ready in a minute, Mr. Mayor. I gotta turn all that page that we just did. Here we go. Okay, Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the Main Street Roswell request for funding of $75,000.
And it was just by Carlos? Yeah.
Now you get paid too.
Okay, well, a motion by Councilman Corn, second by Councilor Marujo, to approve for the funding, requesting the funding for an amount of $75,000 for the Main Street Roswell program. Is there any discussion? Yes, ma'am.
We're just here to present item number 31, consider approval for the Main Street Roswell request for funding in the amount of $75,000. These numbers have been presented before in the previous meetings and also at Finance. Main Street Roswell has been dedicated to revitalizing the Roswell downtown area and fostering economic growth for the past several years. Their ongoing partnerships with the City of Roswell and Chavez County have brought new development that will enhance not only Main Street District, but our community as a whole. Main Street Roswell is currently requesting an increase of $30,000 for fiscal year 25 for a total of $75,000. Their professional service agreement was approved 10-0 by City Council on June 13th. The funding request was voted on at Finance August 1st with a vote of 4-1. Their profit loss from January to April of 2024 was also presented in their Q4 at Finance, and I've attached it here to the PowerPoint for you guys to review, in case you guys didn't see it at the Finance Committee meeting. And I have Barbara Gomez here if you guys have any questions for her.
Yes, Ms. Gomez, if you keep her moving right along. Thank you. Yes.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to say good evening, Mayor, City Councilors, and I want to tell you on behalf of Main Street Roswell, we do appreciate working with the City of Roswell and also with the county. You know, as I expressed in my letter that I'd sent to you on May the 7th of 2024, we are very excited about some of the elements that are coming up now that are underway actually between the City of Roswell and our organization in planning and design and eventual construction of the elements of the 2016 wayfinding plan. Main Street has sought and secured $100,000 for design of the New Mexico Tourism Destination Forward Grant, and we also received $400,000 in capital outlay funding towards that construction of the gateways. And the other thing that happened around this time as well is in June of 2023, we also had a resolution that happened between the City of Roswell and Travis County, where we transferred the Great Blocks grant from the City of Roswell over to Travis County, and that was this transfer of this project relieved the City of Roswell of the matching contribution of $370,000. And so that construction, well, not the construction, but the design is in about the 95% completion right now. And we hope to be able to be dedicating what's going to be called the cultural plaza that will be located behind the parking lot of the Travis County Courthouse. And outside of that, we believe that maybe if we could have some more funding, this would help us to work further with Main Street merchants and provide them some more access to education, rebuilding some of the merchants downtown and helping them and overall to rebuild the Main Street district and get more businesses to move down Main Street. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Gomez. And, you know, really, the UFO Festival came off very well. You all did very well with that. So
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I mean, you really did very well.
Thank you.
Any further questions of Main Street Roswell? Case? Yes, Councilman.
I just want to point out that Main Street Roswell does more than just the downtown merchants. They buy the flags that the city puts up. They do the planting downtown to beautify the downtown area. And they do the Christmas lights. People think that's the city. That's not the city. That's Main Street Roswell. And they do that by donations too. So you do a lot more than just the downtown business.
That's right. Those are just a couple of our big projects, but we do a lot of other small projects. And well, they're not really very small. Whenever you have to put up ribbons on every single alien pole, that takes a lot of work and a lot of effort from a lot of people.
Yeah, you guys do a lot. And I just want people to realize it's Main Street Roswell that does that.
Yes. Thank you.
In partnership with the city.
Maybe you can get them to do a little painting up there. We got a place for them to paint.
Oh. Pardon me, I didn't hear him.
Is your NQ not working today?
Pardon?
It's working.
Oh, well, I didn't see it earlier. Councilman Corn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to come down there with my poke and prod and beating stick in a minute. I'm playing by the rules, and you're ignoring me as usual. No, you'd probably
Got 3
retaliate.
minutes.
Mr. Mayor, you'll note on your deal there's one vote against this in finance, and I was that vote. And this is the dilemma I find myself in. Main Street Roswell in the past has done some outstanding work. They're going to continue to do outstanding work. Has nothing to do with Main Street Roswell. The problem is, in the budget that we've got, that we're in right now, is $8.9 million in the hole. 8.9. The other thing is, and I'm going to get confirmation from Ms. Davies, the line item we've historically used to fund these various agencies out of, with the enactment of this 75,000, is a minus that's a negative. So we haven't got to Hispano Chamber yet. That's the other one that historically gets funded out of this line item that we set aside years ago. This is going to be a general fund expenditure because we're going to have to find this money out of the general fund. It's already $8.9 million down to fund this one and any other groups that we decide to fund in the future. And Mayor, you gave me the job of trying to get this city on financial footing. I take that job very seriously. I work hard at it. I've got some ideas how we can get there a little faster maybe, but it's a real concern. We've got some big expenditures coming up to try to figure out how to get ready for the in-car races that are coming up. And we just can't, it's just a tough juggling match. And nothing against you, Ms. Gomez, nothing against your organization. My focus is on what it's costing the citizens of Roswell to fund these programs. So, that's all explanation I have. I made the motion because my committee said we're going to do it, and I'm going to uphold the wishes of my committee. Although on an individual level, like we're doing tonight, I vote my conscience. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Corn, and thank you for your work you do on the Finance Committee. Councilman Arnold.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'm actually kind of torn. I can't remember which month it was, but it was presented to actually give the Chaves County Economic Development Group an increase, I think, of about $50,000, and I voted no, not against the work of the entity in itself because they do fabulous work, but basically on the merit of the fact that we are in debt. We need to save where we can. What bothers me about this is not an increase. So this is a funding of $75,000. So if I vote no, I'm really torn because if the rest of you vote no, then that's the funding in a whole. It's not an increase noted from what it's normally. So I have about probably 5 minutes to figure out how I'm going to handle that. But I just did want to note that if it was an increase, I would have voted no on an increase. On the way this is written, I'm actually torn.
Thank you, Council Lady. Council Lady Halverson.
I just want to mention, Mr. Corn, I understand your dilemma, but what I look at it is Main Street does so much for the downtown merchants, and the downtown merchants is a huge part of our GRT. So if Main Street isn't there to support them or to beautify downtown or to get people to downtown to shop, our GRT is going to go down. And then we'll even be in a bigger hole than we are now. So that's just the way I look at it. So.
Thank you. Any further comments? Councilman Hildebrand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think, Councilor Arnold, if you vote no, you'll cut their whole funding off, is what it'll be. It's not an increase or anything. You'll just cut their whole funding off. Okay. Just to make it clear. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments? Okay. Thank you all very much. So on a motion by Councilman Corn, seconded by Councilor Barujo for the approval of Main Street Roswell request for an amount of $75,000 in funding. If the clerk would, we can have a voice vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay, by a vote of 8 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative, being Councilman Corn. The motion passes. Thank you. Next we have, thank you all very much. Next we go to item 32, Resolution 24-41 to a resolution for the Southeast Economic Development District, the COG. Okay, Councilman Hildebrand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that we adopt Resolution 24-41 with the Southeastern New Mexico Economic Development District.
Second.
Councilman, that Cabin, right? Okay, a motion by Councilman Hildebrand, a second by Councilor Cabin. Mr. Eintema, would you care to make any comments on this resolutions for the adoption of Resolution 24-41, Southeast New Mexico Economic Development District, COG?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this is a housekeeping item. We're supposed to pass regular resolutions to be part of the COG. The last time the city did this was 1998, I believe. So we're a touch past due.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. Is there any further comments? This is merely our city saying that we want to participate in the COG program for the Southeastern New Mexico Economic Development District, which encompasses all the counties around us, is who they represent. Any further comments? Seeing none, if the clerk could call the roll on adopting Resolution 24-41 for the Southeastern New Mexico Economic Development District, COG.
Counselor Johnson?
Yes.
Counselor Halverson?
Yes.
Counselor Corn?
Yes.
Counselor Chapel?
Yes.
Counselor Oropesa?
Yes.
Counselor Hildenbrand?
Aye.
Counselor Cabin?
Yes.
Counselor Arnold?
Yes.
Counselor Marujo?
Yes.
By a vote of 9 in the affirmative, none in the negative, Resolution 24-41 supporting the COG has duly passed. Next, we go for the approval for the agreement between the COG. Approval between the City of Roswell and Southeastern New Mexico Economic Development District. One was for the district. This is
the agreement.
This is the agreement. So, Councilman Eintema, or Mr. Eintema, well, we better get a motion. Councilman Hildebrand, would you please make a motion?
Yeah, I think you got to go to a meeting or something. You're trying to get this over with quick.
It wasn't for me.
Oh, I thought maybe it was. I don't know.
No, it's just for those ones with the tusks.
Oh, okay. Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the agreement between the City of Roswell and the Southeastern New Mexico Economic Development District.
We have a motion by Councilman Hildebrand, seconded by Councilor
I'll help second.
Alverson. Okay. For the approval of the agreement between the City of Roswell and Southeastern New Mexico Economic Development District, COG. Is there any discussion?
Could I ask a question?
Yes, sir, if it's quick.
But
Oh.
I would like to, I just asked the question why, Hobbs is 10,237 and Roswell is 13,588. It's why the price is a little higher.
Mr. Mayor, I'll yield to that if you want me to.
Councilman Corn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In my vast experience when I was on the county commission, I was the representative for the county, and I was also the treasurer of this organization for a period of time. Those figures are partly derived by the population of the area at the last census. At the last census, we had more people than they do at Hobbs. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of that reason, and I forget now all the other ambiances that goes into figuring this. But this
I apologize. I thought Hobbs, I thought Hobbs was way bigger than us, but not anymore.
well, they might be, but not according to the census data.
Okay.
So, and Hobbs is paying close to what we're doing. So if they grow their population and they get counted, then will be more probably on an even keel with what we think and what we know. That's the difference.
Thank you, Councilor Corn.
Thank you. Councilman Hildebrand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Cole, is this a budgeted item, or is it gonna need a,
That's been a budgeted item.
Yes, sir. Pardon me, Mayor Jennings, Mayor Pro Tem Hildenbrand. So I'll let our treasurer answer that question, but yes, it should be a budgeted item in this year's fiscal year's budget.
it is in the fiscal year budget?
It has been.
For the COG?
Yes, ma'am.
No.
It's always been one.
We didn't put it in the current year budget, so it's gonna have to be a budget adjustment.
If it's not in the current year budget, we'll have to do a budget adjustment. Yes, sir.
We've always had it in the budget.
Has this been an ongoing expenditure every year?
Every year?
It's my understanding this is every year. Yes, sir.
We just didn't put it in the budget.
Evidently not.
This item has been in the budget since, I would tell you, since in 73 and 74, or 74 when I started on the county commission, the city of Roswell was a member there. They've been a member there every year since 1974 that I know. The city of Roswell and the county are both members of the COG, as are the counties around us and these cities. I think almost all the cities that are on here for Otero, Chavis, Lincoln. I don't know if we don't get Roosevelt and Portales are in the eastern COG, but Chavis, Eddy, Lincoln, and Otero, we're all in this COG here. And Hubert Quintana ran it for a long time. Mr. Pappas ran it in 1974 until Hubert took over. And they've all been a member. They've never not been a member. Why it wouldn't be in the budget, I don't know. So, okay.
Mr. Mayor, I think it might be in the public affairs budget, but it wouldn't be a line item. So it's a small contract, so it normally wouldn't get its own line item. But this contract is usually administered out what historically was administered through the public affairs department.
But we'll certainly look at for it, but it's been in there it's always been in there. Okay. So is there any further discussion? Okay, on a motion by Councilman Hildebrand, seconded by Councilor Lady Halverson. If the clerk will, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, by vote of 9 in the affirmative, none in the negatives, items 33 is duly passed. Yes, Councilman, city manager reports, information only.
Yes, sir, Mayor Jennings, members of the council, I'll keep it brief tonight and give you some really good news. We had 3 of our firemen have qualified and promoted up to driver level. As you know, we had a real shortage of driver positions. Our union, working on behalf of our firefighters, has worked with the city of Roswell to remove some of the barriers so that after they complete a year of service, our new firemen and women could take the test and potentially qualify for the driver position. As you know, that last large class that we had, not last, but the last large class that went through will be reaching their year anniversary August 11th, and they are studying and ready to take the test, and we're going to have those qualified driver positions filled very shortly. And I would like to thank our Fire department, of course, they are a shining star for the city of Roswell. Everybody in the state knows it, and particularly the chief of fire and his team. Of course, Randy and Steve. You see those guys running around taking care of business. They have really done a great job recruiting, retaining, and training up our firefighters.
Thank you. Is there anything else? Is there anyone that care to bring anything else up before this board? Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Never let it be said that I tried to have anything or said anything. It was only Councilor Corn that delayed us on keeping members of the Republican Party from their duly, their state convention. So never let it be said that this poor little Democrat ever did that. I want you all to participate every which way you can, and if you would hurry, you can get on your Zoom meeting, and please tell your county chairman that I did everything within my power to get this brought before you, and as soon as I get through speaking, we'll adjourn. But in the meantime, if there's no further anything to come else before us, we'll stand adjourned. Thank you all very much. I know that's probably the fastest meeting we've ever had, but
Could have been faster.
only if it hadn't been for Councilor Corn.